That's lucky. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for coming to our presentation called Safe, Secure, and Loved Resilient Families. And it's a community-led child abuse prevention program in Santa Clara County. And I'm Barbara Burns, and I'm a developmental psychologist at Santa Clara University. You're going to meet Veronica Amador and Maria Gallardo, who are working at Sacred Heart Community Service. And we have been partners, a community academic partnership, in addition with Santa Clara County for many, many years, and you'll hear our story. So welcome. And here we are. We've been in partnership since 2012. I'm glad you're here. Okay, so one thing we all agree on, and this is something that came across in the first presentation today by the Surgeon General. We all believe when we see the face of a child, we think of the future. We think of their dreams about what they might become and what they might accomplish. And we all have a piece in solving that and supporting that. Every child has tremendous potential. So today's workshop is on this child abuse prevention program that's based on a community healing community model and the science of resilience. So we have three learning objectives. First, we are going to convince you that advances in the science of resilience are important and worth paying attention to for effective and innovative child abuse prevention. And again, I think our first keynote underscored that, but we're going to try to bring it on home. Second, you're going to learn the particulars about a new prevention program called Safe, Secure, and Love Resilient Families based on this community healing community model and the science of resilience. And then the third objective, and this is really the most important, is that we want to share our insights. We want you to gain insights on how a community-led prevention program can mobilize individual, family, and community protective factors and resilience. We want you to walk away from this presentation thinking maybe this is a new way that our program, our group, our county can adopt. Okay, so our first opening question is, what does resilience look like? And I want you to put your wisdom in the chat, and you can answer, what does it look like for you? What does it look like for your family? What do you think it means for your family or your community? So just put in the chat. We've got 2 minutes. Put in the chat, what does resilience look like? And then put in parentheses if you're talking about me, my family, or my community. There are 4 people who've put something in the chat. There are 5. There's 7. Okay. And Vero and Maria, in 1 more minute, are going to share out a little bit of what people are saying. Okay. Vero and Maria, you want to share out a little bit? What are people saying?
Yeah, I think adaptability is something that's coming up a lot. Being able to adapt and the ability to bounce back, being able to overcome obstacles, being able to move forward from after something difficult that has happened, being able to go through adversities, and coming out with new strengths and new skills. Maria, if you want to add anything else.
Yes, the ability to cover from sit back and adapt to challenges and keep moving forward. In difficulties as opportunities.
Mhm. Has anybody said it in parentheses, this is about their family or their community or themselves?
Yes,
No.
multiple people have said all three, like having the ability to work through
Yeah.
challenges and then continue forward. That's
Yeah.
all three, right? Me, family, my community. Others have said the ability to recover swiftly from the adverse situations, myself and others.
Okay.
Yes, so there are some that are signaling which one it belongs to.
Okay, good, good, good. Okay, thank you, thank you. That's wonderful. When we've done this before, people have suggested these are most frequent responses. And, again, this idea of managing difficulty or adapting or bending without breaking. We like to think of it not so much as bouncing back, but bouncing forward. And you'll see what I mean by that. We mean by that as we go along. So that's great. Okay, so we're all thinking about resilience. We need resilience. It's thriving amid adversity. There's our child, our little flower is thriving despite the adversity around them. And again, this morning, Diana Bramos did a very good job talking about ACEs and, adversity and trauma in childhood really impacts lifelong health. And we're talking about personal adversities in terms of physical and um, emotional abuse and neglect, family situations and adversities that people are living through, and also the adversities in the community and intergenerational trauma, including now we have to be including floods as well as poor housing and poor food, etc. So we understand there's a lot of adversity and trauma that we're working with. And if we think, now this is the first one where we're thinking about the child experiencing adversity in that yellow circle. And then they are experiencing this in the context of their individual self, their family, their community, and their society. So we need to think about how we're going to combat, how we're going to provide positive experiences that can buffer adversity. We know at the individual level, a child's brain is malleable. This is the time where it is the case that providing specific kinds of experiences can act to build individual resilience. We know that an individual's child's biology, prenatal environment, maternal health can buffer adversity and strengthen resilience. So it's not just it can lead to more trauma, all of those contexts can also lead to more adversity, more buffering of adversity and resilience. So supportive family is sort of at the next level of the context of this child experiencing adversity, can provide a child with positive experiences that buffer adversity and strengthen resilience. So this is really the good news. And supportive communities and societies can further buffer adversity and strengthen resilience. Now, I'm talking about in the terms of the biology of this. We have a child with a malleable brain, and all of these contexts can impact that ability for the child to withstand adversity. And again, you've seen these charts where we talk about what are the characteristics of trauma and what are the characteristics of resilience. Well, these are the ones of resilience at the individual level in terms of economic resources and ability to problem solve and an arousal system that is more regulated, and at the family level, more sensitive caregiving, lower stress, mental health, and at the community level, cohesion, identity, resources, cultural systems. So I'm trying to get us to all get on the same page that resilience is a system. It's a system embedded across contexts. And we're going to show you today that communities can mobilize the positive experiences that buffer adversities. And when the community starts mobilizing this, they are also strengthening individual and family resilience. So communities can mobilize the positive experiences. And then I have this analogy. So I want you to think about that developing child who's experiencing adversity, like a pilot who is trying to land a plane in a storm. So this is how you're going to remember this talk. This is the crazy analogy person who gives you this. So now, if we think about that child as the pilot, we're trying to understand resilience as a system. That's our analogy. So the child is the pilot, and the adversity, how much adversity, is the severity of the weather. So that we could talk about the individual level, the type of plane. Is it one that withstands it or doesn't withstand it? In terms of the weather. The family, is there a co-pilot available? Is the family there? But at the community level, whether there's equipment and support available to the pilot, whether there's a ground crew, whether there's air traffic controllers and communications, that's like the community level of context of trying to land that plane. So we want to keep thinking about resilience not as something we individually hold in ourselves. It is a system. So mitigating adversity and strengthening resilience depends on all of these levels. Resilience is a system. So we've learned about why advances in science are important. Maybe we haven't convinced you yet, but we're setting the stage for effective and innovative child abuse prevention. Now we're going to learn about a new prevention program based on a community healing community model and the science of resilience. And I get to introduce my wonderful colleague, Maria Gallardo from Sacred Heart Community Service.
Thank you, Barbara. Hi, everyone. My name is Maria Gallardo. I'm the Family Support Network Program Manager here at Sacred Heart Community Service. And I also oversee the Safe, Secure, and Love program here in San Jose. All right, Barbara, if you can move to the next slide. So the Safe, Secure, and Love Resilient program is a community-led model for strengthening children's resiliency by focusing on attachment, executive functioning skills, and stress reduction in families with infants. As you can see, we focus on evidence. We are evidence-based informed, mindfulness, trauma, and community-led, which is our more important component. Barbara, you can. So our program is modelized group intervention designed to support caregivers of young children. The program goal is to help caregivers to develop the habits of resilience, enhancing their capacity to nurture their children's emotional growth while also fostering their own well-being. The program consists of 6 workshops, each focuses on different aspects of resilience building for caregivers. And it's led by our participants, graduates, when we call them community leaders or promotoras. These workshops provide caregivers the evidence-based tools and practice to manage stress, regular emotions, and build a stronger and secure relationship with their children. Okay, Barbara, next slide. So you can see the Habits of Resilience program is designed to provide caregivers with a comprehensive toolkit for fostering resilience for both themselves and their children. So here are the materials that we use and the participants received. So the integrations of the materials, including a manualized curriculum, supports caregivers putting the resilience strategies they learn into practice each week. So they get to practice and take it home and also practice with their family. These materials are thoughtfully selected to reinforce core principles of the program, creating hands-on and interactive and reflective experience for the families. So during those weeks, our program teaches parents the 6 habits of resilience through group discussion activities, mindfulness and self-compassion exercises, stories, crafts, and family games. Participants clarify their parenting goals, learn coping and stress management strategies, and practice self-compassion, and which can reduce parents' reactivity and increase sensitivity and nurturing caregiving in their kids and with their families. So it's a very hands-on group. Next, Barbara. So you can see here what our practices, but I would like to share like a story from one of our participants. So last quarter, we had a devoted mother who joined our groups that we recruited through our Sacred Heart program outreach here in the area. And I'm gonna call her Isabel. So Isabel is one of resilience and transformation. She was raised in a very rough environment. Isabel's early years were filled with hardship, and she became a teen mother, facing the challenges of raising children while navigating the struggle of her own childhood. Yet through it all, she found a strength in the love for her children and the desire to build a better life for them. She was very open to share her story with the group, and it was very touching to hear her. So she also shared that she was a survivor of intimate partner violence, which added an immense layer of complexity to her journey. Despite these adversities, she has continued path to overcome the past and create a future where her children could thrive. Through the program, Isabel found a powerful tool that will help her grow, not just as a mother, but as an individual. The program focused on mindfulness, patience, and understanding her children's needs resonated deeply within her. She began to notice how much more present she could be with her kids and how much better she was at being patient, actively listening, and meeting their emotional needs. She shared that before she joined the program, she often felt overwhelmed and unsure of how to handle daily challenges. And she said that now she can step back and breathe, use our breathing exercises, and now she's more aware of her children's needs. She understands the importance of being present with them, not just physically, but also emotionally. She also shared that during the time that she was taking the workshops, her older daughter got into a car accident, and she was able to support her by reminding her to just take deep breaths and basically passing all the things that she learned to her daughter. She was kind of teaching her daughter the classes at night, trying to help her. And also, it's not only Isabel's journey, but we have a lot of promotoras now that join the program and are facilitating these workshops that share the same, that they are very motivated to become facilitators and give back to the community. Barbara, maybe you can move to the next slide. So that's Isabel's transformation. It's a testament of power of community support, education, and resilience. With the right tools and support, she has not only healed, but also became a beacon of hope for others. Her journey is a reminder to the strengths with her family and the incredible potentials that lies in giving someone the chance to be seen, heard, and supported. Okay, Barbara.
Thank
And I'm going to
you,
pass it
Maria.
to our colleague Veronica. Pero
Thank you. Thank you so much, Maria. And as you saw in the previous slide, Dr. Burns, if you can go back one more, there's like this 3 steps, right? Where we see the progressions of resilience and building those habits. The first step is like the managing of stress and emotions, right? When caregivers learn those strategies to handle stress and regulate their emotions, they're able to provide it more effectively, create a calmer, more stable environment for their children. And we see those stories over and over, just like Maria mentioned with Isabel. The second is nurturing and that sensitivity for care, for strong attachment. Caregivers develop strong, more attuned relationship with their children. A secure attachment gives children a stronger emotional foundation for learning, problem solving, and confidence. And that last step, right, as we look at holistically the child, is strengthening that flexibility thinking in children. When our caregivers model and reinforce resilience, children learn those problem solving skills, emotional regulation and flexibility and adaptability. Children are able to develop those flexible thinking and are very equipped to handle setbacks, changes, and challenges that are presented in their daily day. And resilience is not just about bouncing back. And we also, beyond having the stories, right, and the beautiful community support, we also have the data to show that. In the past, back from 2018, since Dr. Burns mentioned, we've been in partnership from 2012. Back in 2018, DFCS took a chance here in Santa Clara County and allow us to continue this program. They really, truly believe in this vision and mission. And with that, we've been able to support that, being able to do the data analysis. Over the past 6 years, our program has served 1,428 families. Primarily, they're Latinx immigrant families where Spanish speaking is the primary language. One of the key indicators of success of our program is consistent attendance and high completion rates, which are essential for the long-term impact that the program has. Our highlights I want to do is attendance and engagement. Our participants show a high level of commitment, with most attending more than 5 out of the 7 workshops. The sustained engagement is critical because consistency of the participation leads us to stronger skill development and better outcomes for the families. The high completion of rates over time, as we look at that, participant finishing at least 5 out of the 7 workshops, we see a strong performance across the years. Our trends, our completing rates have generally been high, ranging from 68% to 86%, as you saw back in each of the years. We did see a dip of 2021 to 2022 year at 68%. And it was a lot due to like the pandemic, the aftermath of trying to do we go back in person in Zoom, and people were resuming back to their work life as well. And so those challenges did present. However, our participation rebounds strongly, again, reaching 86% in 2023 to 2024, with a total of 306 participants, our highest completion rate, and has been so far. Again, the steady numbers reflects how valuable the program is to family. Despite external challenges, our community remains engaged. Our ability to adapt, such as offering virtual workshops during COVID, help us also sustain that participation. And although virtually, it's hard to engage people, believe it or not, our community continues to be engaged. And that is something due to our promotoras, our community leaders, who have learned how to navigate the Zoom skills. Sometimes they'll have people on FaceTime while they're doing Zoom. And because, again, people want to join, they want to be part of the community, they want to continue learning, and they know that the skills are helping them. And so go ahead, Dr. Burns. These numbers highlight a strong foundation of trust between the program and the families we serve. As we look ahead, we want to sustain even more completion rates, and we are doing an amazing programs going forward. So as we look at what is the impact of Stay Secure and Love Resilient Families, So in the pre and the post, we know that preventing child abuse and neglect starts with equipping caregivers with the right skills, knowledge, and support systems. And here we highlight the marginal improvements in caregiver strength after participating in Safe, Secure, and Love. We look at family within areas of breakdown from pre and post changes in the protective factors. We look at family function and resilience, caregivers developing skills to cope with stress, improve communication, and create structured, predictable home environments. We also look at nurturing and attachment. Strong parent-child bond leads to emotional security for children, reducing behavioral challenges and strengthening that trust. Knowledge of child development and parenting. Many parents come into the program with limited access to child development knowledge, and learning appropriate expectations for behaviors and development is key to their success. Social support caregivers also are able to build that relationship with other parents, community networks, our promotoras, community leaders, which really reduces that feeling of isolation and stress within their families. And those concrete support. When families have access to food, housing, and financial stability and other essential resources, they can focus more on nurturing their children instead of survival. And when they are able to be connected to those social supports, we've seen an increase in that concrete support. Again, this protective factors framework align with the evidence-based strategies for child abuse and prevention, as we've seen with friends at ACY Protective Factors Survey. And by strengthening these areas, we are reducing child neglect risk and creating long-term family stability. Our work isn't just about providing services, it's also about providing the lasting behavioral change and also community support in families. What has helped families thrive even when they face challenges, right? That is one of the multiple questions that we want to answer. And here we're bringing you a little scoop that has helped us here in Santa Clara County. Family function and resiliency, as I was talking about it in the previous slides on those protective factors, families that take time to listen and communicate, develop stronger relationships are better equipped to handle stress together. An example, right? A parent actively listens to their child can address concerns early before they escalate into bigger issues. And many times, as a parent myself, having multiple priorities coming at me, it's hard to listen and to sit down and have that space for them. But through the program, because I've also been a program participant, have learned those skills, have learned that why is it important as well. Nurturing attachment, a close parent-child bond fosters emotional security and trust, which directly impacts a child's confidence and social development. Children who feel loved and supported are more likely to engage positively in school and their relationships. Another one is child development and parenting, right? Understanding child development helps caregivers set realistic expectation and respond appropriately to behaviors. And here we have, I know how to help my child learn. An example that we also provide, right? Parents who understand age-appropriate emotion regulation won't misinterpret a toddler's tantrum as defiant. And those are some of the questions that are asked within the protective factor survey. Social emotional. Caregivers who have a supportive system experience less stress, reduce isolation, and better mental health. Having trusted friends or community members to talk about what is happening with my family makes a huge difference in times of crisis, because I know who I can reach out for that support and that help and not feel judged and not feel isolated more than anything. Concrete support, right? Those basic needs, food, housing, medical care, reduces the stressors that can otherwise lead to crisis situations or neglect. Many of the times, many of our families are working 2 jobs, multiple jobs, right? And so being able to be connected to their community resources is it's really essential to them supporting their children grow. A parent who knows where to turn for assistance, again, is less likely to experience housing instability or food insecurity. And we try to make those bonds either using our resources here at the community center at Sacred Heart or with other organizations. Go ahead, Dr. Burns. And we talked about the importance of protective factors in preventing child abuse and supporting families' resilience. But now, how do we know that our program is actually making a difference? And here is a little snapshot that we're giving you. Each protective factor shows a p-value of 0.00, indicating a highly significant change after program participation. So from 2018 all the way to last year, and this year we'll be doing the same, we have a deep analysis into the p-value, the Cohen's D. each one of them being able to tell us on the protective factors. And with Cohen's D's measure, effect desires, which tells us the practical significance of these changes. So if we break it down a little bit for you, family function and resilience has a medium effect. Participants report a measurable increase in their ability to manage stress, communication effectively, and problem solve together as a family. Nurturing and attachment, we see a large effect. Caregivers experience a strong increase in their ability to connect emotionally with their children, creating a more secure and loving environment. Child development and parenting knowledge, we have a median effect, a significant gain in understanding child development and using positive parent strategies, helping parents set appropriate expectations and respond to challenges more effectively. Social support has a large effect. One of the biggest improvements, caregivers develop stronger support networks, reducing isolation and increase emotional well-being. And then our concrete support is also a large effect. Families become more aware of and connected to essential resources like food, housing, and financial assistance offered throughout the county. So why is this important? This results really confirms the participation that safe, secure, and love resilient families meaningfully strengthen family resilience and reduces the risk factors for child neglect and abuse. The large effect sizes in the key areas suggest that this program is high impact and worth scaling up. Go ahead, Dr. Burns. And then in our next one, here we have a quick snap of the pre and post increases in caregiver protective factor, and this is from year 23-24. And as you can see, we see always the blue is the pre and then the purple is the post. There's always an increase, right? Even though we're not making like huge increases for us, this small increases are lasting impacts that we're seeing in community over and over again. And just to tell you, a quick story about how we see this protective factors being embedded into the day-to-day stories of our community members. I'm going to mention a story of Maria, I changed her name, a mother of two young children who came to SSL Resilient Families Program, feeling very overwhelmed. As a mother, she had immigrated to Santa Clara County from Colombia, who has very limited social support and financial stability. She struggled with stress, lack of confidence in parenting, and often felt isolated. Some of the comments that she would tell us was like, I love my children, but I don't know how to help them when they have tantrums or they need me. I'm exhausted, and I don't think I'm doing a good job as a parent. Through the program, she was able to really look at some habits that help her manage her stress and emotions through mindfulness and self-care activities. They're nurturing attachment. She started setting aside dedicated time for her toddlers, having those one-on-one moments, having those hugs. Many of the times that time is just a hug that allows the child to be emotionally, physically connected to their mom. She learned about child development, also needing when, setting those positive discipline with their children. And also, of course, build a supportive system. She was connected to other parents or promotoras, other workshops around here with an organization and other organizations, and felt a lot stronger knowing that, hey, I'm in a chat that I'm receiving resources, or if I need something, I just put it in the chat and other community members are bringing in those resources, or I need help doing this. And so building those mutual aid support. One of the things has been like, if, immigration has been a big issue and topic in many of our communities, right? And if anybody says, hey, I need somebody to pick up my child, it is a space that they feel safe and secure to say, I need somebody to pick up my child because I can, regardless of what the issue is. Somebody will step up and say, oh, I can pick them up. And you see parents helping each other. Where also access to concrete services. She had access to our pantry, also housing support, and other workshops. As the first time, something that she said is, I wasn't feeling alone anymore. I learned that taking care of myself made me a better mom and started using the tools to connect with my kids in a healthier way. And those are stories that we continue to hear over and over from our participants. Go ahead, Dr. Burns. Besides also the protective factor, another way that we like to measure is, are people satisfied with the program that we offer? Because that's very important as well. And we've seen the measurable impacts of SSL in the protective factors, right? Satisfaction and recommendations are critical indicators if families find this value. They are more likely to continue to be engage into the program and continue to engage with other programs and refer others. And what we've seen is, yes, participants are very satisfied with the program, often giving us a 4.9 to a 5. Also, they would recommend this program to friends and families. And actually, that's how we do a lot of their referral systems. It's through them telling their families, their friends, their neighbors, hey, I took this program, you should take it. It can be beneficial. And them doing their own recruitment and outreach. And has this program helped my family? Yes, again, 4.8, 4.9, and 5, that has always a comment to say how much it has impacted their family. Okay, go ahead, Dr. Burns. Additional evaluations as well that we hear from families is a narrative response. And believe it or not, we have our community loves to tell us, how we're doing. And many of those narrative responses are telling us, thank you for encouraging words that you share with us as parents. We live in such a difficult time filled with stress and anxieties of life. This class has taught me to communicate with my husband and how to express my emotions in a more gentle way. I sit with my husband after classes when he gets home from work, and we go over what I've learned. I'm also seeing that my husband is expressing himself in a more loving way as well. This was a participant in spring of 2020. Again, these comments are not unique to one participant. We see them over and over again, and we actually put them into themes. Go ahead, Dr. Burns. And the summary, right? Safe, secure, and love resilient families. We've explored the research, the data, and the real life experiences of caregivers in our Safe, Secure, and Love program. Now let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture, how elements work together to create a lasting change. The resilient isn't just a concept. It's a backbone by science. Research shows that early childhood experiences shape the brain development and a foundation for emotional regulation, problem solving, and coping skills. By integrating this knowledge into the program, caregivers gain a deeper understanding of their child's needs and development. The second important element is the community learning and shared wisdoms. Families don't just learn from experts, they learn from each other. They have that wisdom integrated within them that they are able to share with each other. This program integrates that community voice, habits of resilience, and real life experiences to ensure that learning is culturally relevant and practical for them. When caregivers support each other by building those strong networks, that they make a lasting impact into the program. And of course, the last outcome, increased caregiver strength and resilience. When we combine scientific research with real world community wisdom, we got the most powerful outcomes. Caregivers emerge stronger, more confident, and better equipped to handle parenting challenges. The data that we reviewed earlier confirms this. Families in safe, secure, and love resilient families are not only showing satisfaction, but demonstrate measurable improvements in our protective factors.
Nice.
Go ahead, Dr. Burns. And just to summarize this, right, we've explored learning why advances in science of resilience are important and more effective. We learned about the new prevention program based on community healing community model and the science of resilience. And now I'm going to take you into gaining insight on how to community-led prevention programs mobilize individual, family, and community in protective factors and resilience. Thank you, Dr. Burns. And community healing community model. Why community leadership matters, right? Why breaking down this aspect is so big in the things that we are doing. SSL, again, shift this to the family themselves. Caregivers aren't just passive recipients of support, they become leaders and advocates and connectors. Parents or caregivers are co-creating solutions with increased buy-in, relevance, sustainability. Caregivers or young children, when we are better able to manage stress, challenges, and adversities with mindfulness and self-compassion practices, we can better help our families thrive. This was a participant back in 2023. Habits of resilience, again, provide that inner strength to reach out, to give comfort and care, to receive comfort and care, to repair and recover caregiver-child disruption, and reflect and learn in community. Again, giving us a sense that within community, we can find that healing and that we can support each other, that we are not alone in this and we have each other to thrive and not just survive, but thrive as well. Yeah, Dr. Burks. And we're going to put a powerful, very amazing video right now of one of our participants who was a participant, became a promotora, and now is a staff member here at Sacred Heart. So go ahead, Dr. Burns.
Me recuerdo que estaba en una mesa de aquí y llegó y se puso atrás de mí, bien cerquita. ¿No te gustaría ser promotora? Yo le dije, "No". Y dice, luego hablamos. Y le dije, no, María. Y dice, ¿por qué no? Y le digo, porque estoy aprendiendo a ser una nueva mamá, porque estoy aprendiendo a conocerme, porque estoy aprendiendo a amarme yo primero y a mis hijos. Entonces ella me dice, no te preocupes, no necesitas tomar la decisión en este momento. Y cuando de repente una maestra Esmeralda fue y me dijo, ¿por qué tu niña la están cuidando en mi salón y tú no estás asistiendo a clases los demás días? Le dije, ¿cuáles clases? Y me dice, tenemos clases de inglés y también la niña puede estar en su saloncito. Y empecé yo a tomar el taller por 6 semanas y me enamoré, me empecé a enamorar del programa. Me di cuenta que podía salir adelante, ¿verdad? Que podía crecer, que podía aprender y al mismo tiempo me di la oportunidad de tomarme el espacio para estudiar y que mi hija estuviera aquí en la escuelita. Nunca tuve la experiencia, nunca tuve a alguien que estuviera apoyándome, diciéndome, eso está bien, eso está mal. En tener la voz alta con tus hijos está bien, no lo es. Cuando yo llegué aquí, mi hija de 3 años me dijo, mamá, respira la flor y sopla la vela. Entonces me di cuenta que atención plena, mi hija no la conocía. Aparte de que yo estaba tomando el taller, ella fue mi mejor maestra.
En la conversación anterior, donde cuando yo la invito a que se convierta en promotora, se hizo para atrás y dijo, no pienso que puedo. Pero cuando ya empieza uno a abrirle los ojos y decirles, veo mucho potencial en ti, veo la conexión que puedes tener con los otros papás, veo todo lo que tienes que aportar para que esta comunidad siga creciendo unida, tú puedes ser parte de ese granito de arena que necesitamos.
Entonces, me ganó, dije que sí. Mi madre ha sido la mejor persona que me ha enseñado a luchar por la vida. Ella siempre decía que en la vida vas a tener muchas espinas, como un rosal, pero al final de cuentas vas a encontrar esa rosa en el camino. Entonces, yo posteé en el Facebook, no voy a hacer propaganda, pero posteé. Y una amiga me dijo, Jackie, tu hija ha seguido tu eco de su voz. Y yo pensé, ¿cómo el eco de mi voz, verdad? Dice, ella está teniendo su propia voz, está haciendo la lucha, está inspirándose. Y cuando me di cuenta, sí, yo no estaba dándome cuenta porque todo el tiempo andaban conmigo, para acá, para allá, apoyándome. I told you are everywhere with us, right? Yeah, she dragged me out even when you know, I guess that it's for the better. It's about like, I'd say 12, and I was dragged along with my friend. We had a sleepover that night, and we were planning on sleeping in and making breakfast together. And then my mom just told us to go to the women's bar together. And I just started to tag along with her and realized that I really enjoy helping people, and it's really nice to know that I can make a change in the world. Y ellas han escuchado la voz en silencio de su mamá, viendo el ejemplo nada más y también el de decir, vamos a hacer esto, ahora vamos a ir allá y ellas, okay. Y después, ese es el mejor ejemplo. Being the daughter of immigrants, it gives me the firsthand experience of what it really is like, you know, when you find out something on the news, you're like, oh, that happened, but you don't really process it until it really happens to you. And that's exactly what happened with my mom. It's like, this child could have been separated from their mother because of ICE or something like that. And it's like, my mom was an immigrant too, and that could have happened to me anytime as well. Yo creo que cuando me tocó ir a México para ajustar mi estatus, para poder arreglar mi estado de inmigración, ella y su hermana mayor se tuvieron que quedar juntas y me escribió una carta hermosa donde ella me dijo, no te preocupes, vamos a ir al Sagrado Corazón, voy a estar con los niños, vamos a tomar el autobús de regreso a casa, vamos a preparar algo de comer, no vamos a quemar la casa. Y fue muy bonito. Yo pienso que de ahí ella empezó a crecer más. Sí, está bien. Yeah, it was a difficult time for our whole family when she was gone. So I really just got that firsthand experience of, as a daughter of an immigrant from Mexico, it just changed my entire perspective on everything. I am part of two committees. The first one is REX, which stands for Racial Equity and Community Safety. And the second one is FASOS. I actually really enjoy it now and getting to meet new people with different experiences, getting to hear what they've been through, their challenges and struggles and what they're proud of. It's so nice to see. And if I have my own voice and I have all these privileges growing up, I can use them to help other people in so many ways. And she just taught me that my voice counts. Y just que no traiga
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Burns. And as I mentioned, Jacqueline Mora is, her story is not unique. We continue to see it and seeing those everlasting impacts as you see it. It's not just for her, but it's for her family, for her generations to come. You know, something that always makes me, it makes my heart warm is I have a voice, right? And we continue to hear that over and over here with our SSL participants. It's, I have a voice. I didn't know, especially our community leaders that become those promotoras. And this pipeline of leadership, right? SSL isn't just about learning. It's about that transformational. The cycle that shows how caregivers move from participants to leaders by creating a self-sustained system of resilience. The program doesn't just teach those skills, it really empowers caregivers to become the first advocates and to facilitate that, ensuring that the work continues beyond their participation. And how do people do that, right? They join an SSL group. Many of the caregivers come in by a referral, many by just, finding out about our program, maybe by just walking into our community service. And caregivers join that SSL group. And this step is crucial for engagement, as many participants may be hesitant to join at first. They're kind of like, oh, what is this about, right? After they join in, they participate. It's a total of 6 SSL workshops. There's 7 because we have an orientation. We like to tell our community members what to expect and what is coming to them. And that gives a lot of ability for community members to say like, I don't know if I'm ready for this. I don't know if this is for me. But many of them staying and wanting and building onto that excitement. During the 6 sessions, participants develop and continue to practice the habits of resilience, learning from their peer leaders who have once participated themselves, and how do they use them as well on their daily day. This creates an environment where, where learning is relatable, culturally relevant, and experience-based. After they finish that, they continue to practice the habits of resilience together. Unlike traditional programs where learning is a one-directional, SSL really encourages that interactive applied learning on a day-to-day going. Participants support each other on real time, strengthening their ability to cope with stress, repair relationships, and really build those protective factors. Then we look at strengthening their inner wisdom and enhancing that resilience. Through practice, caregivers build that confidence to lead long-term behavioral changes. Participants recognize their own growth and begin to see themselves as potential community leaders. After they graduate, They have the opportunity to train as a community leader. Graduates are invited to become facilitators, leading the next group of participants. And this ensures that the program remains community-driven, reducing that reliance on external experts or our staff members, and reinforcing that peer-to-peer mentorship. Okay, go ahead, Dr. Burns, next slide.
We only have 5 minutes left, so we're going to have to go a little
rapid. I get very, very passionate about this. And so our community healing community model, right? As participants, I mentioned the participation, they graduate, they go into Promotor Institute, which is deepening their understanding of their facilitation skills or outreach. Then they become new promotores, and then they're able to shadow and then eventually lead on with their experiences, the SSL program. One of my also amazing, beautiful slides is the community-led promotoras, mothers, caregivers, acting as a bridge to strengthening that resilience and prevention of child maltreatment. They are the roots in our communities. Their kids are those leaves and branches that we are, building together to see grow and continue to become fruitious here in our communities. Go ahead, Dr. Burns. And then promotores share life experience about family resilience, and they highlight wisdom from community heritage. I talked about how they bring in their own experience and that culture within them that we tell them, right? Many of the times our systems have told them, you're not worthy, or you do not have the answer, but yet they do. They do, and we continue to foster that within SSL and encourage them to share that. And then by addressing trauma and strengthening resilience in family, again, it's a powerful work, it's spiritual work. Promotores bring their mind, their heart, and soul to the community. They are our future. They are our community's strength, the resilience that we want to see. And of course, that building of within their families. And so safe, secure, and love, I'll pass it over to you, Dr. Burns.
Maria, do you want to give a short description of our big event and
I could do that.
How we noticed, how did we learn how powerful community was? What was one of our wake-up calls?
Yes, so we stood out before the Santa Clara Committee on Children and Families. I think it was in 2000 and before COVID. It was so amazing that our participants shared their experience about safe, secure, and love. But one of the things that I stood a lot to us was one of the participants, one of the promotoras' son went and asked permission if he can talk, and how he shared how this program, Rocio was nodding because I know she was there. So Carlos has always been shy, and then he stood up and walked and asked. He was eager to talk about how this program has helped his mom. He said before she joined, we were going through a tough time. She was stressed, always worrying. Sometimes he didn't feel that he was part of the family. But through the program, she learned how to be more present, how to listen, how to connect with him and with his family. And it was just amazing to see how he was able to share his story, very proud to talk about his mom. And those are one of the things that kind of want me to keep going, because I see this happening every day here at Sacred Heart. Our promotoras, 12 years ago, they have kids 3 years old. And now they're 12, they're 15 years old, and they're with their moms when they're doing outreach, helping them to talk to families about the program. And it feels so good. We had a presentation with our community partners last time, and we took one of our promotoras to share her experience. And one of the things that stood up also was like, my son, it's like when I'm trying to talk to a family and I'm taking so long, my son kind of tells me, hurry up, there's another family over there. So it's amazing to see that now their children are kind of like doing the same, and they care about this program because they see the difference in their families. So to me, that's very impressive. And I don't want to take more time, Barbara. You can keep going.
Okay. So we're trying to give you snapshots on how community leadership highlights and mobilizes these protective factors. We want to change your mindset so you see community leadership as really innovative because it allows new things to happen. We keep saying resilience is embedded across multiple contexts, and what community leadership does is allow that to happen. It creates the safe space for families to share personal wisdom. It lifts up ancestral wisdom about resilience, because the families we work with, the families across the world, they have resilience. But people can become more resilient and have more effective ways to become models really for the community and connect with the community and bring light to the idea that resilience is part of community heritage. So we're gonna wrap it up, but we'd rather have you stay here for another hour. But we are gonna wrap it up saying that this model of community healing community, not only is it effective, it's sustainable because it is continuing and being allowed to scale up. It literally mobilizes community resilience. That's what's new. That's what's innovative. And the leaders, the individual promotorial leaders, are leveraging lived experience and community wisdom to mobilize new solutions. Yes, we have a manualized program and they're going through high points and everything is monitored, what they're doing, et cetera, and fidelity, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But they present it in the context of community. So we're trying to really share this so that you'll contact us and to learn more. We want to have a special thank you to Rocio Abundas, who is on this call, I believe. You know, we are a partnership of Santa Clara University, Sacred Heart Community Service, and Santa Clara County Department of Family and Children's Services. So I just have to give a shout out to my university that has supported me for 13 years to be able to work with these tremendous colleagues in community in authentic and meaningful ways. Maria, give the shout out to Sacred Heart, please.
Thank you so much. So I want to thank you, Sacred Heart, for giving me the opportunity to be part of this community. We focus on 3 goals: build a community in order to build society. Number 2, build awareness of what's broken and what needs to be fixed. And then 3, build leaders who can take action. So that's one of the reasons that I'm doing this work, that I'm at Sacred Heart, and I'm very thankful for that. Pass it on to Vero, very quick.
Yeah, and thank you to Santa Clara County Department of Family and Children's Services, to the acting director, Wendy Kinner-Rush, and the former director, Daniel Little, as well, for their amazing leadership and really trusting in our partnership and seeing community as a partner, because we are also part of community. And so seeing community as a partner and their leadership and that vision that they believe in. And I know, Rocio, you have your hands up.
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I work for the Department of Family and Children's Services, and that we believe in this program so greatly that we are investing resources through our Families First Prevention Services plan to develop this program further to become evidence-based. So they've just been such great performers, and the proof is in all of the data that was shared. And every time I hear any promotora talk, they speak with so much passion and confidence, and you can see their development over time. This is just such a tremendous program. So thank you, Sacred Heart. Great job on the presentation. Bummer we don't have time for a Q&A, but maybe people can reach out to you in a different way.
Yes, please. We want to have questions. We want you to contact us. Thank you so much. And thank you, Maria, and thank you, Vero and Rocio, for a lifetime of incredible opportunity to work in community. I guess we're done. Unless people had a question, we'll stay all day. If you have a question, we'll answer it. Maybe not. Thank you. Have a beautiful lunch. Oh, how can we get the slides? The slides are posted currently on WOVA, as are some additional articles.
And Barbara, how do we did you drop your email in the chat?
I didn't, but I would love to.